On the night of September 30th, 2022, when there was peace all around in Ouagadougou, suddenly there was a stir on the streets of the city. Ibrahim Traoré and his soldiers started executing their plan. In the darkness of the night, his soldiers marched towards the government buildings and quickly captured important government buildings, offices, and radio stations. Interim President Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba was ousted from power very quickly by Traoré's fellow soldiers. Thus, by the morning, Traoré had carried out another military coup in the country. But this time it was not a normal coup. But this time there was a young face in the leadership whose age was only 34 years. Traoré's voice echoed on the radio early in the morning. "We have taken this step to save the country. France's dominance will end now." What happened after this shocked the world. As soon as he came to power in Burkina Faso, Traoré ordered the French ambassadors to leave the country. French soldiers who were in Burkina Faso since 2013 were also expelled. French media agencies and news channels were banned in Burkina Faso. A 34-year-old military officer, whom no one knew before, openly challenged a powerful country like France. Overnight, Traoré became the new leader of Burkina Faso. His age, his enthusiasm, and his courage surprised people. When countries around the world heard his first speech, they also realized that this was no ordinary coup. It was a rebellion that was showing the people of Burkina Faso the dream of new freedom. But France was not at all happy with Ibrahim Traoré coming to power. Burkina Faso was an old colony of France, and France had kept the politics and economy of this country tightly in its fist for decades. Traoré directly attacked their interests by expelling their soldiers and ambassadors. France immediately condemned this coup, and Emmanuel Macron's government called it an illegal and dangerous step. Western media started defaming Traoré by calling him a rebellious and irresponsible leader. France put pressure on Burkina Faso through the United Nations and other organizations. They also tried to impose sanctions. But these threats had no effect on Traoré. Traoré raised his voice against France and clearly said that France has looted our country. Now the time has come to use our resources for our people. The intention of Western countries has always been that the people of the country they have ruled over should become deaf and dumb and obey their orders. But Traoré does not seem to be one of those leaders. He does not want to follow the orders of the West, and that is why he has become a thorn in the eyes of Western countries. But on the other hand, after capturing power, Traoré's popularity among the people of Burkina Faso has skyrocketed. The youth of the country, who are half the population of the country, have started seeing a new hero in Traoré. His pictures, speeches, and videos of army convoys keep going viral on social media every day, and people have started calling him the new Sankara. When Ibrahim Traoré took over the reins of Burkina Faso by removing Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba from power, he took several big decisions one after the other, which made it clear that he did not just want to change the face, but he wanted to change the system itself. After becoming the interim president, Traoré took big steps regarding the country's most important resource, the gold mines. He started the nationalization of the country's gold mines, which were earlier controlled by companies from France, Britain, and Australia. Traoré nationalized 5 big gold mines in Burkina Faso. He believes that this control of gold will directly increase the income of the government, especially at a time when the price of gold is increasing rapidly. Apart from this, he also implemented new conditions regarding the rest of the gold mines, according to which now foreign companies will have to give 15% share to the government company and also train local people. Along with this, Traoré started the plan to build a gold refinery and gold reserve for the first time in Burkina Faso so that the countrymen get direct benefit of the resources. Traoré also promoted agriculture. He started a scheme to provide cheap loans and seeds to local farmers so that the country would have to depend less on foreign countries for grains. As soon as Traoré came to power, the work of building schools and health centers in villages was also accelerated so that rural areas could get basic facilities. Apart from this, another step of his made him even more popular among the people of the country. He refused to take the huge salary of the president and continued his simple salary of captain. Apart from this, he also cut the salary of government officials and clearly said that those who were enjoying the government money will now have to work for the public. People who were accused of scams were punished. He stopped unnecessary government expenditure and started a campaign to provide essential things like electricity to every house. All these steps of Traore take forward the thinking of Sankara of self-dependence and nation first. Because of his speeches, ideologies, and working methods, he is often compared to Thomas Sankara. This is the first time after Sankara that a leader of Burkina Faso is talking about using the country's resources for the people of the country. That is why Traore had once said that I will complete the work that Sankara had started. While on one hand Traore is focused on improving the country's economy and system, on the other hand, his focus is also on fighting terrorism that in April 2023. Traore announced general mobilization so that the army could get full support against the Islamist insurgency. After this, the security forces here conducted several anti-terror operations against terrorist groups like JNIM, which were successful to some extent. But the threat of terrorists still remains in many parts of the country. Traore is constantly expressing his opinion, clearly not only within his country, but also in front of the world. After distancing his country from U.S. and European powers, he began to strengthen relations with Russia and China. Traore invited Russian private military companies to Burkina Faso to help fight terrorism. He also established good economic and political relations with China. Many people called these steps of Traore as neocolonialism. His critics argue that he has removed one foreign power and invited another, but Traore says that Russia and China will not take over his country's resources like Western powers. Ibrahim Traoré gave an impressive speech shortly after coming to power. He directly attacked the image of Africa created by the Western media and Western governments and said, "Since my childhood, I was shown only one picture of Africa on TV. Hungry, malnourished children with buzzing flies, dry land, weapons, and death. It was said on television that this is Africa, and we believed it, due to which we felt ashamed about our land, about our people. But since I became conscious, I did research about it, and then I understood that the image shown by the West till now was all a lie. Everything was scripted. You sold us to the audience all over the world by showing you as helpless, poor, and uncivilized, as if we were wild tribesmen who were left behind in the race of civilization. Hunger, war, disease, corruption. Terror are some of the words that come to mind whenever Africa is discussed. Why is there no other word for Africa in your dictionary other than these?" Everyone was surprised to hear these words of Traore. People started discussing him all over the world that a leader has emerged from Africa who is directly competing with the Western powers. His words pricked the Western countries like a thorn. Because of this, in 2025, French President Emmanuel Macron said that African countries should thank France for helping them fight terrorism. To this, too, Traore replied that if anyone is ungrateful, it is France because their existence today is due to the sacrifices of our ancestors. The people of Burkina Faso swell with pride after hearing this answer given by a young leader to the European powers. Because of this fiery spirit of Traore, the same small African country, which was earlier known only for slavery and poverty, has now become the biggest challenge for the Western powers. His revolutionary policies and outspoken stand against Western influence have made him a symbol of rebellion in the entire African continent. Western powers fear that because of Traore, some other African countries, like Burkina Faso, may join hands with Russia. Traore has already told African leaders in the Russia-Africa Summit, "Stop dancing to the tunes of others. We are not their puppets." His indication was towards France and Western countries. Not only this, Traore formed the alliance of Sahel countries with Mali and Niger under the Pan-African ideology, whose aim is to end the dominance of Western countries. Through this alliance, Traore raised the slogan of African unity, which resonated in the entire continent. Due to Traore's outspoken leadership, the youth in Mali, Niger, and other African countries have started demanding leaders like Traore who are fearless like him, speak clearly and want to run their country on their own terms and not on the orders of external powers. Ibrahim Traoré wants to make Burkina Faso self-reliant. This intention of his is clearly reflected in one of his famous statements, in which he said that we do not want money from anyone. Just teach us the technology. Let us learn. We will develop our country ourselves. Traore has a clear focus on strengthening local industries and making the country self-sufficient. But his path is not easy. Burkina Faso is so deeply mired in poverty, hunger, terrorism, and political instability that it will be very challenging for Traoré to get out of it. Economic and social development is a big challenge for Traoré because about 40% of the country's population is still living in extreme poverty. Traoré has nationalized mining and increased cooperation with countries like India, Turkey, Cuba, but there is still a need to work on governance reforms and basic infrastructure to stabilize the economy. Terrorist violence has increased in the country since he came to power. More than 6,000 people were killed in 2004, which is double compared to 2022. Jihadi attacks doubled in Burkina Faso in 2025, displacing thousands of people and killing hundreds. Burkina Faso has a population of about 23 million, which has more than 60 ethnic groups. The largest is the Mossi community, which accounts for about 50% of the population and has historically dominated power. Ibrahim Traoré himself comes from the Mossi community. One of the other major tribes is the Fulani tribe, which accounts for 8 to 10% of the country. Communal clashes have been a major cause of tension in Burkina Faso, especially between the Mossi and the Fulani. The Fulani community is often associated with jihadist groups, which has led to increased discrimination and violence against them. Traoré talks about unity in his speeches, but after coming to power, the 500-strong volunteer defense force he created has often been accused of communal violence against the Fulani community. Traoré's government is also accused of suppressing press freedom. Those who criticize the government are silenced. In some cases, opponents were put in jail, and there were also reports of illegal killings of some. This allegation is a stain on Traoré's image, but his supporters believe that all this is necessary to stabilize the country because terrorists and supporters of the old government are still conspiring. But critics say that Traoré is slowly becoming a dictator, as has happened with many leaders in Africa. There is some seriousness in these allegations because after coming to power, Traoré had made many big promises. He had said that he would root out terrorism in 2-3 months and hand over power to an elected government by July 2024. But by 2025, neither terrorism ended nor power was transferred. Traoré has extended the working period of his military government till 2029. He has clearly said that holding elections is not a priority. Despite all this, Ibrahim Traoré's popularity is constantly growing. He has become the most popular leader not only of Burkina Faso, but of the whole of Africa. However, after the coup, Traoré's life has also come under threat. In 2025, a coup was attempted against him which failed. Many times, like Thomas Sankara, there have been attempts to assassinate Traoré. It is believed that France or other Western countries may be behind these conspiracies. But despite these threats, Traoré refused to back down. He openly said, "I am not afraid of anyone. My goal is motherland or death." The story of Ibrahim Traoré is a new chapter in the history of Burkina Faso. At the age of 37, he is not only the youngest leader of the country, but also a person who not only challenged a powerful country like France, but also showed his countrymen the dream of a country that is the owner of its resources, which is free from the slavery of foreign powers and where every citizen gets his rights. But the truth is that he is not a leader elected by the people, but has come to power through a military coup. And the history of Burkina Faso shows that those who stage coups have always ended up in another coup. It has been seen many times in African politics that leaders who come with the slogan of revolution become dictators as soon as they get power. Ibrahim Traoré also stands somewhere between a revolutionary and a dictator. Only time will tell whether he will fulfill Sankara's dream or repeat the mistakes of history. But his story has proved one thing, that if a young leader has courage, he can shake the world.